So in the last few years, Disney's made two heavily political movies with their biggest franchises. Firstly with The Last Jedi, which was based on attacking a white man who was Luke Skywalker, who's seen as a hero. And now Captain Marvel, who's based on feminism, and a movie that's based on showing men as being rude and arrogant. For example, when they ask Captain Marvel to smile. And the movie was marketed heavily towards feminists and women. But I want to explain why Disney are doing this and why this is a terrible mistake. So firstly, Disney are doing this because they recognise that movies were traditionally sold towards white men, but white men only make up about 15% of the world's population. So Disney know there's still perhaps 5.6 billion people out there that they can sell and market their movies to. So as a business, Disney's sitting there thinking, why sell our movies to 15% of the world's population when they're still 85% of the world's population? It makes sense to sell your movies to the most amount of people, and that's what Disney has started to do. And they're using politics to move away from white men and to target the other larger population of people. And from a business point of view, that generally kind of makes sense. It's quite a logical thing to do. But also with Marvel, they appear to be forced into this situation. They don't have the choice. They have to do it. They have to move away from white men. And that's because if you look at this image, you've got Guardians of the Galaxy, that's coming up to the point where it's completing its trilogy. Captain America said he wants to leave. Iron Man, I believe Robert Downey Jr. is now 53. Thor has completed his trilogy. So these white male characters have now completed their lifespan. Marvel need to move on to new characters. And they've really shown that they're going to market their movies at new customer groups. So Captain Marvel is focused at women. And Shang-Chi is obviously an Asian character, and Miss Marvel is a Muslim character. So Disney and Marvel are thinking, well, we need to market these movies at people who are not white men. And they can still do that. Let's say, for example, you take Shang-Chi, and 100 million people go to the cinema. They can still make $1 billion, and none of those people are white men. That's still quite conceivable for Disney and Marvel to do. So Disney know there's still many people out there that they can make money from. And now this is why this is a dangerous concept to follow, because if you take what most people believe that white men are the most powerful and dominant force in the world. So if we eradicate white men, another group of people will replace them. So white men over the last 500 years have created the modern world. They've created everything from penicillin to the car, to the aeroplane, to electricity, to the light bulb, to the computer, and almost everything in the modern world. But I would suggest about 96% of everything in the world is created by white men. But over the next 500 years, that might be Asian men. So Asian men will create flying cars, they'll create the cure for cancer, they'll create medicines that we haven't even conceived of yet. But 500 years from now, those Asian men will be eradicated. So we've got white men eradicated, then we've got Asian men eradicated. We'll continue going through the different customer groups. So going back to this pie chart, white men, that will disappear. Then this customer group, they'll disappear. Then they'll disappear. Then they'll disappear. And eventually, you've just got one triangle of people left for Disney to market their movies to. But what Disney aren't really considering, and people who believe in this patriarchal system, they're not understanding where this patriarchal system originates from, or our genetics, or the whole science behind it, because we evolved from apes, and apes operate in a patriarchal system. It's within our genes, and scientists don't even understand this yet. They don't understand why we have a patriarchal system. But we know that we evolved from apes, so it's nowhere near as simple as just creating a pie chart, because nothing is that simple. So what Disney are doing is very dangerous. They're saying we're going to attack white men and make movies for new customer group, but they don't understand the complexities of what they're really doing. They don't understand that it's not as simple as that. Because if white men are the people who set trends, because if you say that Marvel is now a trend, and that was created by white men supporting these movies. Now, I'm not saying all white men. You know, there are Asian men and black women who support Marvel, but predominantly it's white men. So white men have started this trend. If white men didn't start this trend, the other people that are now part of this Marvel fan base wouldn't be there. So what will happen is, if you take away the trendsetters, the next customer groups won't come along. And it could be Asian men. So Marvel might adapt over the next 10 years into a different set of customers. But if those Asian men aren't coming on board and supporting these characters, 10 years from now, there won't be any black men to support the character. So you need trendsetters to support what you're doing. And Marvel and Disney don't seem to understand this. You can't be everything to everybody and think it's going to work. You need to target a certain group of people and hope that other people follow them. And that is what's happened. That's what's happened with Star Wars, and that's what's happened with Marvel. You had white men grabbing hold of these franchises early on and supporting them, and now more and more people are coming on board. That's what should happen, because there's no politics involved in that. It's just these franchises become more and more popular and organically growing. When you try to use politics to attack and denigrate one type of people, what happens is you alienate everybody. Everybody becomes alienated. There's no people that want to be part of it. And we saw that with Solo. So Solo crashed because white men went to watch The Last Jedi, saw that it's a movie that's based on attacking men, and the men didn't want to come out and support Solo, but nobody else did. There wasn't 10 million women who went to watch Solo, or 10 million black people that went to watch Solo and helped Solo to make $1 billion at the box office. They didn't turn up. That's not how it works. You can't be everything to everybody, because it's far more complex than that. Not even the scientists understand this. So if you think that Disney's marketing department can understand how they can sell movies time and time and time again to new customer groups, they're now foolish. It will not happen. And they've already shown that with Solo. They thought that new customers would turn up and watch Solo, and guess what? They didn't. If they start to inject politics and start to denigrate certain people, hoping that other people will come and watch them and replace white men, it will not happen. So what Disney are doing is very dangerous, and also will not work. If they denigrate certain groups of people, hoping that new fans will come along and replace those people, it will not happen. It failed with Solo, and that's why Star Wars is in such a mess. And they tried to repeat it with Marvel. It will happen with Marvel. Marvel will be in the same mess that Star Wars is in. Because people can see this. If you attack white men and then you replace them with Asian men, and the Asian men are sitting there thinking, well, I'm next on the chopping block. It might be 10 years from now, I'm going to be eradicated. And then the Asian women, they'll be sat there saying, well, they've got rid of white men, they've got rid of Asian men. It's only a matter of time until they eradicate me. But Disney seem to be attacking and denigrating white men because they've recognised they're only 15% of the customer base, and instead they want to make 85% of all the people in the world their customers. If they do it by attacking white men, it will not work. If you have any comments, please leave them below. If you agree or disagree, again, please leave your comments. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe. But what Disney are doing is very dangerous, and it will not work. And they've already seen the results of Solo. Solo crashed because of what they did to white men in The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi was a warning to white men that Star Wars is going to eradicate you, and we don't want white men as customers because we've got another 85% of the customer base. But guess what? These 85% of the customers are not going to turn up because they know this is going to happen to them. History will repeat itself. So again, if you have any comments, please leave them below. And also please like and subscribe. But what Disney are doing will not work.